And some big news out of Iran today. 5 Americans wrongfully detained there for years are now heading home. The U.S. agreeing to unfreeze $6 billion in oil revenues tangled up in sanctions in exchange for their freedom. 5 Iranian nationals being held in U.S. custody, also set to be released as part of this deal. Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer joins us live. Kelly, do we know if these Americans are officially on their way back home?
Hey, Nicole. Well, the White House confirming just a short time ago that the plane bringing the Americans home has departed Doha, Qatar, adding that President Biden spoke with the families of the 7 American citizens who are returning home to the United States from Iran. That's the 5 detainees and 2 relatives. Each family member who joined the call spoke with President Biden, the White House tells us. Now, the White House is keeping the focus on reuniting Americans as the administration continues to face questions around the way this deal went down, exchanging 5 Americans for 5 Iranians, plus releasing $6 billion in frozen funds to Iran. That was the deal made to get these 5 Americans home. You can see them landing here in Doha, Qatar today from Tehran and making their way back to U.S. soil. The frozen funds arrived in Qatar Sunday night, which then triggered Iran's release. A lot of questions today around the cost of the deal for the United States. The administration continues to say that the $6 billion released can only be used for humanitarian efforts, and it was not U.S. money. It was Iran's money to begin with. Today, the Secretary of State was questioned about this deal and defended the administration's move. Take a listen.
We're very confident that the funds, the Iranian funds that have been made more easily available to Iran as a result of the actions that we've taken will be used exclusively for humanitarian purposes, and we have the means and mechanisms to make sure that that happens.
Now, President Biden is in New York City today for campaign events ahead of the UN General Assembly, where Iran's president will also be speaking. The 5 Americans held hostage are traveling back to the United States as we speak. President Biden warning today that the U.S. will continue to impose costs on Iran for their, quote, proactive actions in the region. The White House adding that this has not changed the relationship with Iran in any way, that they still see them as an adversary and as a state sponsor of terrorism. Kelly.
All right. And right now, all of the names of these Americans being freed have not yet been released. Is that correct, Kelly?
That's right. So there have only been 3 of the 5 names that have been released. 2 of the others have chosen to remain private. We do know that some of these Americans were either an energy executive, Iranian American businessman, and another was a conservationist, and that these Americans were held there for more than 5 years. Some of them in this prison, the Evin prison, that is notorious for its horrifying conditions, as well as its treatment of political prisoners specifically, and the torture of those prisoners. They were held there, some of them through August, and then were moved into house arrest before making their way back now to the United States, where they will soon be arriving. Nicole.
All right. Kelly Meyer live for us there in Washington. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.